Shut your whore mouth.
What you gonna do, Amplitude? What you gonna ban? I mean, to actually put on my color casting pants for a second, Morgana's a pretty good ban at this level of play, just because, like, oh, we've taken the nobody ban. Okay.
We've also taken the nobody say anything to the Shoutcatchers approach. Hey guys, and welcome to BTL.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, that's my
spicy.
favorite.
Okay, so we're casting Pro Draft.
We sure are.
Let's talk about video games. So we do have an empty ban over on the side for Amplitude, and we still don't know what that one is.
We like to call it the no fear ban.
Teemo, Evelyn, perhaps Shaco. Invisibility is a big thing. So,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Let's talk about bans that we actually do know. Diana, Vladimir, and Victor coming through for Active Rush. I feel like, given the current state of the metagame, Vladimir and Victor feel like very targeted bans against specific players inside of Amplitude. And Diana is, after her changes, a fringe pickable assassin choice. And I think maybe that's something that you want to take away as pocket ban, or also into specific matchups. We do see the Silas locked in first for Active Rush, though, and you want to talk about strong team fighters and or assassin-style picks. Silas fits the bill 100% right now.
I actually kind of disagree with that on the Vladimir. The Vladimir's like a super prominent, super capable pick right now. That, and if you're going to pick something like Silas, you definitely don't want that anywhere near your lane.
Yeah.
We do have a first pick Sivir, which is dangerous to say the least, but certainly gutsy.
So I feel like Sivir is one of those choices that it's difficult to first pick that, especially when stuff that can really punish that in the lane phase, like the Caitlyn, is still available. Though Caitlyn has seen it kind of drop off in pick priority after those changes that went through early in the year to remove the much vaunted Saber combo that we did see, really spicing up the metagame there for a bit. Sivir, of course, the lower range AD carry, but always around with that 400 CS late game win condition, matched here on Active Rush by the Tristana, who also scales up into a slightly different flavor of late game monster.
Well, absolutely, but I would personally put my money on that Tristana pick, especially considering how much of a heavy hitter Tristana has been lately, especially in this particular meta. We've seen a lot of press the attack champions just thriving, especially these past couple of patches. And so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they decide to play around that early mid-game.
Mm-hmm. I think the other thing that you look at with the Tristana here is that you think Tristana is, you see AD carry like, oh, okay, well, it's a sustained damage pick. It's Tristana, you're going to be auto-attacking from a range, but with the bomb and with the ultimate that you get in that Tristana kit, there is a shocking amount of burst when combined with press the attack, and all of a sudden, Tristana can just blow someone up, even J4, who may or may not be stacking health this game. So you really do have to watch out for Tristana's burst, especially I think with the 7 to 11 or 12 range. But that's something that Amplitude is going to be concerned about. Talking about the next of their bans here, Ornn is going to be hitting the bench, and I am hardly surprised at all to see that pick taken away.
Me neither. Now, in terms of target bans, I'm definitely not even really surprised to see that LeBlanc taken away so early. Same with that Renekton. Renekton's been a powerhouse in the top lane as of late, especially in this sort of weird plateau of mid to low elo.
Yeah.
And that jungle echo pick.
There's a reason why the term Renekton bar was coined several seasons ago. Renekton, of course, one of those classic champions where you have to be able to match Renekton in lane, or you simply are not allowed to go top. And, you know, clearing that out here in the pick and ban phase is something that I don't think either of these teams are going to be too sad about. But the Echo pick is an interesting one, right? Because we've seen this rise to some prominence here in the pre to early season 10. And while the priority has dropped just a little bit on that over the past few weeks, it's still a pick to be reckoned with and can really set up for some devastating team fights and ganks.
And not only that, so can that Darius ban. That would be that blank slot right there. And that target ROM ban is super, super huge, especially considering, if I'm not mistaken, Amplitude's support is Expo, yeah? No, that's active rushes.
Mhm.
My apologies.
Yes.
I read good. I read very good.
Anything else you'd care to share with us, Mads?
One of them plays that champion.
I think that if you actually look at Bard in terms of, not Bard, but Braum in terms of the metagame, pardon, Braum is well positioned as a support right now. He has some very strong 2v2 matchups. He is a great choice for enabling carries and protecting a backline. And if you're looking at this composition from Amplitude here, you've got a lot of backline to protect the Sivir, the Vygar, now the Cassiopeia. I think the Braum ban is 100% warranted here, and it shuts off some of the power that the Sivir lane can have in the 2v2. And I'm curious to see what the support choice is going to be from Amplitude with the pool kind of pinched, as it were, here.
I'd have to agree with you there, but that, and with such heavy engage coming in from active rush with the Sylas, the Tristana, the Scion, the Galio, and Syndra, of course, pressing her all too favorable outplay button. There's too many things here that you'd have to look at and just immediately go, okay, I don't want that on the enemy team.
So it's interesting. We need to look at the composition here because it's Sylas, Galio, Syndra, Scion. None of these are super traditional supports, though I feel it most likely that we'll be seeing the Galio in the bot lane going with the Tristana, and almost certain to see that Sylas in the jungle with Syndra mid and Scion top. Now, Amplitude has picked what I consider to be one of the highest priority jungles here with Olaf, but they also have a J4.
Is that a J4 support?
I think it's,
or is that a Vygar support?
I would not be surprised if it was either of them. I think that they both have their merits in the support slot. Vygar does have the ability to kind of do a support brand impression where he goes for a utility-oriented build and then
he
just
puts on his fire summoning hat and pretends to be Brand.
His brand pants. It's the only
brand
article of
pants.
clothing that man wears. Did you know that Brand and Rise are brothers because in the old lore they used to wear the same kind of pants?
Why are you like this? Why would you tell me that information? That's
Because
going
it's
on
the
my
truth, Mads. It's a riot
Yeah,
sponsored
Please.
conspiracy.
I don't want riot-sponsored conspiracies. I want actual tips, and not that Alawi likes mangoes. Why is this happening to me?
Does she? That's fascinating.
She
information.
does. Alawi likes mangoes, and that's on the wiki.
How did we learn that information?
That's a good question. I think Riot decided that it was, something we needed to know, and I'm glad
Mangoes
that they
are
did.
mangoes are delicious. Like let's be honest with
That's
ourselves here.
fair.
They're pretty tasty. But speaking of tasty,
What I was going to say, actually, Vygar's support actually has a lot of what I personally consider almost a hidden viability, especially with these new support items that we've seen coming in. So the fact that ranged champions now hold the ability to last hit is super, super huge for somebody who would be even remotely adept at something like Vygar's support, because you have so much potential to last hit and stack your Q in lane.
right. Mads, ranged champions have been able to last hit minions for a number of seasons now.
Gas Pump, you don't have to bully me on stream.
You're doing a fine job of that yourself. So, as we transition into this actual draft phase, one of the things I'd like to point out here is this who gets the support hat for Amplitude, right? You've got Vygar, J4.
It's a mystery, Gas Pump. We don't get to know until the end. Well, it's not Olaf.
That's what that color casting is all about, baseless conjecture. So
That's right.
I mean, Olaf is certainly the only champion here who I think is really the best in slot in his particular role. Like J4 is an excellent jungler, but he can also go top lane. He can also support.
Except for anything like that, Vygar's support is going to be coming through here in a couple of minutes. I'm excited.
Olaf top lane. Now this is a little untraditional, especially into a matchup like Scion. Olaf can be a strong top laner, but his weaknesses do get exacerbated with his less than stellar gank assist and the fact that he does fall off later into the game.
I can agree with that.
But at the same time, Olaf also has some of the most insane stat check snowball pop-off potential of any champion in the game, right?
Like, I would put it as a very abusable and exploitable group of tools at his disposal.
That is a very good way of putting it. It reminds me in some respects of what a top lane Trundle can do if he gets ahead. He just hits his buttons at you and you die. And there's no outplay potential.
I love how you say
win
Trundle
the
like that matters to me.
Oh
As an
It
ADC
matters to
main in
me,
this
man.
economy,
It
anybody
matters to
presses their
me.
buttons at me and I die, gas pump.
That's just always been the AD carry's burden.
Well, yes, correct.
But talking about this Olaf pick top, right? If Crobo logic here is Crobo Wadget, Crobo
Logic.
I'm mad that I had to pronounce that. So
Yeah.
with this, if this top lane Scion can successfully navigate the lane phase versus the Olaf, right? It's going to be a very good time for him. And there's always the truth to Olaf that Olaf's game plan in League of Legends is a Cinderella story because he turns back into a pumpkin at 25 minutes.
I can't disagree with you.
So, like, again, Olaf is like the reverse of a ticking time bomb. If you get to that 25-minute mark and the Olaf isn't wildly ahead, his effectiveness begins to fall very, very swiftly.
Swiftly into pumpkin territory, yes.
That being said, this is a team that has Cassiopeia, Sivir, and Vigar, which is very, very interesting. I'm curious to see if Shifo and Applejacks are able to kind of run over this early game and create a smooth power trough for the Cassiopeia, Sivir, and Vigar to escalate them into the late game without too much trouble, or if the more what I would consider to be well-rounded composition from Active Rush is capable of kind of getting a stranglehold in this early game and, you know, pressing their advantages and looking to end this game right around that time that Tristana comes online with 3 items.
So I actually think I have a little bit of like a mental diagram for the way that this is going to work. I feel like all of this entirely depends on Cassiopeia's ability to go, please stop running at me, that hurts my face. If Cassiopeia lands an ult on 2 or more people, the fight is essentially over. Yeah. Sivir is a team depository tool, and they proceed to win the game because they can. Or alternatively, if we see Nelson land a good taunt, we see Bladed land a good stun, and proceed to heal all of his health because he's Silas, why not? Anything could happen from here.
I do agree with that. Again, like a lot of these games, especially this level, come down to execution of these compositions, right? And I would say that in terms of executing on this composition, Active Rush has a much clearer path to victory, right? You get the engages with the Scion, the stuns with the Syndra, Galio coming on through. You have a very strong Wombo 5v5. You execute that, and it's going to be curtains for this Amplitude squad. But on the other side, there is a world where Amplitude survives the early game, plays smart, gets to that 30-minute mark, and yes, Shifo starts to fall off, but is still a backline threat. He can still get onto this Syndra, really try to push that advantage while Cassiopeia, Sivir, and Vigar prevent the kind of front-to-back team fight that Active Rush wants to play. And again, a lot of the burden of execution here is on Amplitude. Can you get the fights you want? Can you set up for these? Are you capable of playing conservatively enough in the opening minutes of the game to position yourselves in a place where you can make it happen?
I'd have to agree with you there. On another note, I'm seeing a lot of potential for false safety here. I kind of have this weird image in my head of Rutledge getting a little too into it and jumping into the enemy team and then reminding himself that he's an AD carry. And then you know how that goes for the rest of the game. But alternatively, I also have a very similar thought.
Tristana syndrome, as you might call it.
Quite, yes.
Gotta get the reset, man.
Of course, yeah, no. Reset my gold.
And my death timer.
And the enemy's gold, yeah.
That's correct. So, with the spectator delay at the end, we'll be right into the game in just a few more minutes. Excited for this best of 3.
Are you guys, Will?
Yeah, I just said that. Why would I lie?
No reason.
Why are you so suspicious?
Am I?
It sure seems like it.
Doesn't. All right. So let's talk for a moment about the fact that we've seen this execute Syndra super prominently lately, and the fact that it makes me have very mixed emotions, most of which are sadness because I play AD carry.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of potential for Syndra to just pop off. I mean, she has Ignite. That's a super, super aggro choice, but...
Especially against the teleport from Cassiopeia here. Slashdiv is going to need to play this lane very conservatively against the Syndra.
Definitely. Now, it's looking like we will see a 5-point start from both teams. Mm. Alternatively, Rush could be pushing for an invade. Super early for that, but anything is possible here. Now, if we do happen to catch Olaf here, Bladed Threats looking for a stun on the Olaf will manage to whiff that just barely, Olaf flashing into safety with the rest of the team pausing the game. Vigar has disappeared.
Oh, Shifo getting found
Vigar
out
machine
here.
has disappeared.
He forced the flash on out there, so man, that's a fairly major summoner blown from the Olaf.
That's right, Vigar's scaling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, so that's a super dangerous thing to pop so aggressively, especially considering the fact that Bladed Threats is almost guaranteed to be starting blue here. And if he does, that's such an easy roam up to top lane to pick that up if he's even remotely pushed. Like, if he can see River, he's too far out.
A summoner has reconnected.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, hey. Bada boom, bada bang.
Bada boom, bada bing. Maybe we'll have a game today.
There's always a chance. You know, it always strikes me as that this is like the tax that is required for any given amateur series. There's got to be a pause. There's got to be some kind of issue.
This is like super. This is a super regular thing in BTL too.
Mm-hmm.
It happens just. It's 25-8.
This is perhaps a spoiler, but it's a pretty common thing in every amateur sense.
I don't know what you're talking about. This has never happened to me before in the history of my shoutcasting career. All right, we're looking for another push here on the Cassiopeia. Hasn't burned the flash yet. The stun will land from Silas there. Tristana taking jump first is a super, super interesting choice. But alas, they will see another second flash from Slash on him. Wow, okay.
You okay there, Chief?
No.
So let's talk fallout from this level 1 play, right? So Shifo positioned very aggressively in that tri-bush, gets found out, forced to blow his flash. Slash Div, not respecting the Roman down past the red buff, also forced to burn their flash. And that is two major defensive cooldowns. Used both the Olaf and the Cassiopeia when he sands that flash for the next 4.5 minutes. And while neither of these champions are probably looking to super aggress against their opponents, this creates a really tough situation for these laners where any gank that is capitalized on by Bladed Thesis could wind up in a kill, and they're going to need to be safe and smart in their respective lanes.
100%. Now, what we are looking for here is which team is going to break that first blood barrier first. Of course, we did have that super aggro attempt from Rush, but there is still plenty of room for Amplitude to force something here, if not sooner than later, and it would not surprise me if we saw a first blood here within the next couple of minutes, especially with that super aggro from up there.
Right, and that's in the almost easy. Bottom lane. By both, going to do the stun coming on through that forest. Fight to pin them more out of the tank. Goes on in and over first blood for Tristana as I steal the play.
Exactly. Gas pump the color caster. And just like that, we have another engage here. Ramu's picking up that kill on Tristana, maybe being able to even pick up a secondary kill on Nelson if they'll be able to kite this out, and they will for a double kill in the bot lane at 2.5 minutes. Phenomenally done, Gas Pump. Thank you for playcasting, Preston.
I'm sorry, my brain got shut off. That's what I usually do. So, looking at this bot lane, right, that was aggression forced by Rutledge and VT Nelson, and it ends up blowing up in their faces spectacularly. The play getting turned magnificently by the Removes fight 20. That's the power of the Sivir in the early game. The stun cage from Vigar expertly placed, and that CC coming down to Rutledge's Beast ends up being absolutely key in turning that play. But top lane, Applejack's looking for push-up gank versus combo logic.
Exactly, and if Sheep is able to catch out Bladed Threats here, we do see Slash catching him out right in River. Expo roaming up to help, but will it be too little too late? Bladed going down to Applejacks with a phenomenal flag and drag there to secure the kill. Now again, we do have fight to win in the mid lane, hoping to catch Expo out here. Expo does have flash, will flash over the wall, but maybe even picking up a kill on Applejacks, so you're stealing that red buff right from his hands. And just like that, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Applejack's going more than a little aggressive there on the
Just a little bit ambitious there, but we do see another fight happening, potentially here in the mid lane, as we do see Nelson and Rutledge roaming up from the safety net of bot lane, as it were.
Looks like it's just one of those vision plays coming in from that bot lane duo. A little too little, a little too late. But that being said, though, fight to win, and the aggression from the side of Amplitude there.
Expo looking up to pick a little bit of a yeah.
A little bit of a failure there as he misses absolutely everything against Slashstiff. That Cassiopeia dead to rights if even one of those abilities lands, but Expo just doesn't quite have the gas in his tank to close out that kill.
Now, if Expo stays here, Apple could potentially have a solid gank on Expo, but it looks like Bladed and Expo will be backing off a little bit here. Nelson and Rutledge looking for a little bit of aggression here in the bot lane. It's definitely a choice considering the way that first fight went, but I will say nothing more on that.
Well, Tristana did get a kill. I want to talk about things that had me scratching my head. The Kirky Shard first pick.
I think it's a pretty good choice, especially if she's planning on rushing that legendary Storm Razor first item. But what I would say is they have to choose now whether or not that first blood versus 2 kills was worth it to them. Personally, I wouldn't really say so, but they do have a nice bounty on Sivir's head now for this next fight.
Classic League of Legends tech, feeding the enemy bot lane duos.
Exactly, you get more money. Now Nelson going in for a taunt there. Fight to Win has been ignited, will go down. Rutledge and Nelson backing off after a nice 3-pick on Fight to Win. Now, the funny thing about that is there wasn't even really that bad of positioning. But we do have another fight here, top lane. Bladed Threats will be forced to dash out there. We have a teleport going in from Slash. Very unfortunate considering how late that teleport was. Could have been a very clean fight for them there, but they will be backing off. Now I was going to say, Fight to Win didn't even really overextend there. He just played Vigar. And
I would, or perhaps Vigar got played.
That's true. That's true. Definitely a possibility.
But looking at that fight top lane, right? Bladed Thesis making a very smart play there, trying to get that counter gank in, but the Roman up followed a teleport from Slashstiff there on the Cassiopeia, more or less wasted. Like, yes, it does defuse the gank attempt, but that's a fairly major summoner burn for the Cassiopeia that is simply not going to be available if there is a dragon contest coming up here. First dragon of the game is that Infernal. Both teams will want this. Also worth mentioning that Krobowagic did burn the Scion teleport to get back to lane, though does have that ultimate to get in on the action. There were a fight at the dragon.
It's that really nice Shen syndrome where you don't have teleport, but you have teleport. Now we do have a little bit of a trade going up here. Shifo going all in on Crow.
That damage.
Will be forced to back off or die, and it looks like he chose death today. Unfortunately, missing on that engage just ever so slightly, but it looks like we might have another engage here in the bot lane, and we will not. But that Scion was burned in that fight.
Right, Krobowagic there with a very strong outplay against Shiva, overextended, canceled the auto attack, and regrettably, it was just those small micro mistakes that ended up costing him not only the kill on the Scion, but also the gift of death as well. That's not what you want to see in the OR, especially at this particular phase of the game. So really gonna need to look out for how this top lane matchup is skewed based on the individual moves of these players.
It was definitely a little bit too ham for this point in the game. Now, I personally can't really say anything about that. I would have done the same thing up until that tower dive.
Yeah.
I feel like forcing that pressure was super huge, but after that it was a little...
Just a little sus.
It's a little sus, yeah. Looks like we might be setting up for a dragon here on the side of Amplified, especially Vigar being forced to flash out. He's popping that spell shield perhaps preemptively as they go to chase down Rutledge. Will hit that knockup from Galio. Will be able to flash away before the taunt is popped. Taunt is popped anyway, and down goes Fight to Win. Down goes Ramuse, and that is so huge for the side of...
You can do it, Mads. You can do it. Team AR stands for... Come on, we're gonna get there.
Active love.
Active Rush, there we go. Thank you, guy running the stream. You're great. So, Team Active Rush, who got the kills down there, right? Okay. So, Team Active Rush, the squad whose initials are AR, Aircast, had a fantastic set of plays down there. This is the second time that we've seen Religious Beast and BT Nelson hugely force a play and have a turn up successfully. This is the power of the Galio Tristana bot lane, which is absolutely insane. And they very, very smartly capitalize on the fact that Vygar does not have the flash, that he is in fact Vygar, and that he's been maybe a little bit slow with those cages coming on down to clean up another double kill straight in the pockets of Tristana. Already has the Storm Razor, and look at poor Fight to win 20. Level 4 to level 7 and 6 of this Galio. His bad day down bot is not over yet.
That's what we call a feels bad man. Vygar, unfortunately, falling into exactly where he does not want to be at this point in the game for a hard-scaling champion like that, who could potentially be just one-shotting everything he wants to at this exact moment, but is restricted by nothing else but his own KDA. Now, it looks like we will see a Rip Turtle go down to Blinded, but Active Rush will be trading for that Dragon, which is super huge for them at this point in the game. Now, I don't believe that Bladed will be there in time to contest that.
No, it looks like the collapse was there just a little bit too late there. Oh, that was a bit of awkward smite timing, but
it was able to calculated.
100%. Stacks for the Vygar, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Nothing is wrong here.
Everything. It's all.
Exactly.
The things that aren't okay here. This Vygar Super Top has been ruthlessly capitalized on by the Galio, by the Tristana Heart, that Storm Razor. Vygar is approximately 5 auto attacks away from dying at any given point. He needs to be playing so safe here. Tristana has the ultimate, has the damage. The burst is insane. And it's going to be, at this point, how gracefully can you lose the rest of lane phase rather than trying to capitalize and take fights?
I have to agree with you there, but Nelson has something to say about that, landing a two-man taunt. Stopping that ignite, perhaps a little too preemptively on Fight to Win. Fight to Win will get jumped on by that Tristana, will go down, but Rammus does manage to clean up both of those kills, putting some extra gold in his back pocket. Thank you very much. No complaints there. Probowagic does look like he has a bone to pick with this Olaf. Hopefully it goes in his favor, as he does have this lane pushing, but Shipo has something to say about that. Not a lot of a something, but a something.
I mean, this is a tough lane top for people. Right? The Scion already completed that Bramble Vest, which hugely curtails the healing abilities of Olaf off the Conquer and strikes on the W. So, really going to need to play this one safe and cautious, but I want to talk about this cat bot. That looked so good, once again, for the side of Active Rush, and it ended up being a catastrophic failure as the dive was
being just a really hard misclick after another. Expo flashing for that Cassiopeia pick will not be able to secure 2 health on that Cassiopeia. Top lane turret going down to Rift Herald. Shelly has something to say to Shipo, and Shipo has something to say right back to Probowagic as Apple comes and joins this fight, dropping the Cataclysm. Unfortunately, Shipo will go down. Bladed has something to say. And it looks like we're getting a teleport from Cassiopeia. Will Slash be able to pull something from this fight? Able to land that poison on Bladed, but Bladed has so much healing. Will unfortunately go down in a 1-for-2 plus top lane tower over to Active Rush.
in the bottom lane.
In the bottom lane, Rutledge is here to keep it going.
Man, poor Vygar. Fight to win 20 just Goomba stomped by the damage. That was like 2 auto attacks plus a bomb ult.
Exactly.
Oof.
This man just showed up. He didn't know what was happening. Rutledge is a level down on Rammus here. Will take so much extra free damage here. That taunt landing at just the right time, but will he still manage to make it out? Apple has something to say about that. Rammus almost going down to Nelson. Rutledge taking that Vygar ult to the throat, and Nelson is able to clean up Rammus, but will he be able to make it out of there alive? Applejacks doesn't have Cataclysm, does have Flash, will be backing off on that though, as Expo and Bladed have arrived to the fight. Expo does not have ult to clean that up.
Oh no, it was a second from cooldown!
And the fight to win, does manage to walk it out. It's about time. He deserves some slack here. Give the boy a win.
He's been hurting for that dude.
He's trying his best.
Oh, now they do manage to get the kill cleaned up on Tristana, but they lose that tower bot lane. More gold for this Syndra mid lane. And let's talk about the lane position, right? Sheepo losing to Krubblewatch at top. Jungle matchup has been in Blitz favor. Really the only lane where things are fairly even at the end of the day is mid lane, where it's 1-0 to 1-1.
And I would say bot lane barely pulled to that win as well. That was super clean in that last fight there. Fight to win, still holding on to everything he has going for him, managing to pick up a couple of kills in that last fight, but not enough to keep his tower.
It feels like Rutledge's Beast has got kind of jitters heading into this game, right? Like he's ahead on this Tristana, he has the damage, but he's just canceling some of these key auto attacks. He's not getting these last hits like he needs to on some of these.
He's just nervous he's being casted by you guys. That
Gosh, shucks. Is that a good thing?
Who knows?
Wow, I see.
Nelson is hiding in that bush, but Moose will take that to the face. Able to flash it out, does have to pop that spell shield kind of preemptively. Nelson almost going down with Bladed, but Expo is able to come in and clean up that bot lane like it's nothing. Slash and Applejack are in danger here, getting pincered. But it looks like that fight will be going in Expo's favor. Just barely flashing out of that. Applejack's is still alive.
Oh, Rutledge on the hunt.
Looking to take another bite out of this fight, but will it be in his favor? And down goes Applejack, just a flag and drag away from safety.
Man, and just getting cornered in his in the enemy jungle there. That was a really good collapse and a really good turn. But when it came down to the scramble, once again, Active Rush takes the fights, takes the skirmishes, the 1v1s come up in their favor, and they're able to pull out ahead. And, you know, once again, take a lead in that 4 versus 4 setup.
Now, it looks like Tristana is just going to wail on this tower for a little bit. Fight to win will be there to save it. Tristana should be safe here. Not a lot of active threat to her at the moment. Looks like we will see a second dragon, this time in favor of Active Rush.
And I mean,
I know why I have so much problems with it. Because every time I was gonna say, every time I read Active Rush, I think Big Time Rush, but those letters don't fit.
What is that even from?
It hurts my brain, yes.
Why do you think Big Time Rush?
Because it's got the word rush in it. Expo looking for a kill here on Slash, able to pop that out, able to back up just in time to avoid getting turned to stone as Bladed has something to say. Looks like we will see a stun there and a smite kill. The most disrespectful of all the kills.
Look, let's talk about Expo here. This Syndra performance is mine. It's 4-0-1, 500 bounty right now. And just landing stun after stun.
Looks like Nelson does unfortunately get stunned. Not able to help his team secure that, but Apple taking so much damage from that Scion ult, along with Ramuse, who is forced to ult and flash and heal away everything at his disposal and still goes down to the Nelson. In is Rutledge, and Rutledge is able to pick up a second kill on them. Bladed is sort of hovering around here, could be pincered by Applejack, but Applejack is in danger. Unfortunately, did not monopolize on that soon enough. Sheepo goes down to Rutledge. I was trying to figure out what you just said to me. I'm gonna be honest, it's fine.
Don't listen to anything that I say.
I just heard you wheeze that feeling like it was coming out of your sarcophagus for the first time. Just
Bladed
seeing
Thesis
Silas for the first time.
Bladed Thesis recovered half of his health in that Kingslayer. That's what the wheeze was for. It hurt me seeing that happen.
Nelson will go down to this tower, unfortunately. Ramuse able to pick up a kill on him. Probowagic will present as if he's in danger, but just kidding. Expo is there. Now Slash does have
Cassiopeia
does land that. Rutledge will go down to Cassiopeia. But will they pick up more? Slash does manage to pop that shield from her Archangel staff. Rutledge. Sorry about that. I tried to say Rutledge. No, I tried to say Expo, and then I said Rutledge because my brain is broken.
So, but after let's take a look at these teams here. About 7,000, 8,000 nearly gold lead. Active Rush and
Expo is in danger here, except for the fact that he just absolutely capped Ramus.
look, this is a Syndra who is 4-0-1, who has
You could have ended that
full
sentence
items
that this is
worth
a
of gold.
Syndra.
This is America.
This is a Syndra.
So if this is America, then Expo is Childish Gambino firing his Tommy gun and the choir full of
Full of removes.
Yes. I mean, this
They
is
just all got
the
cyber space.
so rather than completing an item, I think that Expo goes for the wise choice here, picking up the Oblivion Orb and the Sorcerer's Shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That's 30 odd M-Pen at this point of the game against a squad that is not stacking magic.
And that blue buff goes right on into his hands. Now it looks like we could be seeing a fight set up here. Krobologic and Nelson looking to prioritize on something here, sort of just playing around with that red buff, but Slash isn't having it. Does manage to get a little bit of damage in there. Fight to Win might be getting a little bit antsy here.
I don't blame him, honestly. This has been like this has been a hard Viker game to watch.
The
170.
issue is Rutledge isn't there yet. So if they chose to take this fight, it would be, well, he's there now, so now it's okay. A couple of seconds ago, it was slightly less okay.
I don't know, man. Tristana's mobility across the map can't be underestimated.
That's right. He's actually just got teleported because he's Tristana. How did you know?
When I was first playing League of Legends, I thought the flash would teleport you anywhere on the map. That said, teleport to your house. Here's your location.
Was that the other day, Gaston?
Everyone was bad back then. It's fine.
Was that the other day, Gaston?
If by the other day you mean like fall 2010.
That's fair. I mean, I'd imagine, you know,
Oh,
kind of difficult.
That was about a quarter of his health because he was too close to the tower when the Trist bomb went off. That damage is insane. This capture.
That's an interesting choice to steal the Cataclysm away. Definitely a choice that I'm personally a fan of, and I'm kind of excited to see how this fight plays out. Krobologic taking a little too much damage there. Fight to Win does not have any health to spare. Will likely be forced to back out here in just a moment. Apple, lingering a little too long, will not take any punishment for it, but that mid tower does go down. Exo already setting his sights on the mid tower.
And man, this just feels like a clinical closeout from the side of Active Rush, right? You've got one last inner tower left. Baron buff is on the table. The second Dragon's in the pockets. It's going to be a tough sell for the side of Amplitude to come back into this one.
Now let's take a look at some individual stats real quick. We've got a pretty solid CS lead versus Apple.
Oh, that's
We've also got
bye.
a couple extra kills on him.
So, the amazing thing, to me at least, is that Slash Dip was pushed so far up without ward coverage in that quadrant, right? You don't have any vision, you know that tower's being aggressed on, and, I mean, Slash Dip, probably the strongest individual member of the team right now, but simply not a match for the combined burst damage of the Syndra and the Bladed Thesis, dropping the Cataclysm on his head.
Now here's the issue with that, is that is entirely correct. He is probably the strongest member of his team right now, and he's 2-2 versus his AD carry 6-4. Which is super problematic, that all of your kills are on a champion that can't do anything about it right now.
Right, and I mean, well, you want to accelerate the Sivir as best you can, but it feels like this is a situation where if you were 3,000 or 4,000 gold down, this isn't a problem. But you're 10,000 gold down at the 0.3 minute mark. All of your carries are 10 plus minutes away from coming online. And this roster from Active Rush is just going to so Citrus running defense here, Baron this is actually a mistake. Clear out this ward, let you know that they're doing Baron. Little if you remember, but it's gonna be tough stuff on stage where we're trying to make a steal. Baron already down to 3,000.
I think it's a pretty major disrespect move there to take that ward knowing that they could not contest at that moment. We got Tristana sitting at a mighty 6-4, Rutledge just sitting pretty. Expo, just an absolute monster, and an engage from Probowagic will take down Fight to win. Down goes Fight to win, down goes Applejack, unable to even get his Cataclysm off. Looks like he will pick up another kill. 2 more kills, and Shifo's the only one alive. Will he be able to stop this from happening? He absolutely won't, and that's an ace over. An ace over to active.
Right, exactly. Amplitude folding like a deck chair in the face of that onslaught. Baron empowered creep wave, all 5 members of the VM Zanya is cracked. This is going to be Nexus going down, and we are almost certainly heading directly to game number 2.
Gosh, what an exciting, thrilling end to game 1. But it's not over yet. Rutledge still has more to say.
Wow. That's a lot of damage. Tristana's going to be blowing up the
and
team.
only now are they allowed to leave to game 2.
Yeah, that was just a hard flex there. 25 stacks in the mid-eyes at the end for Expo.
Good.
Holy free holies. A dominant
God.
statement from Active Rush.
What a time. All right, just like that, we have completed game 1. It looks like we will be going into game 2 of this best of 3 very briefly now. All right. I'm going to take a couple minutes to get everything set up and ready for game 2, but just like that, I am Mads. This is Gas Pump, and we will be back briefly. All right, here we are once again, backing at it.
Yeah, I would imagine that we are, considering that we're in Pro Draft. We didn't get a link or anything, but we can watch the Pro Draft via the stream.
Wait,
Extra
I got the
spicy.
link.
Then why didn't I get the link, Vance?
Because it's in the chat, Gas Pump. You
What
can't read
chat?
Gas Pump. The caster chat, Gas Pump.
Why would I look at that? I didn't even get pinged.
Gas Pump, you can't read.
This sign can't stop me because I can't read.
Looks like we have a phenomenal Echo first pick. Wasn't banned out, therefore it is his. Looks like we are 6 bans in already. Diana, Vladimir, Victor, again, not a big surprise from Active Rush. Regana LeBlanc and Syndra getting snatched away from Expo. No more Syndra, not again.
I don't blame him. That pick really ran him over. Expo had a fantastic match with that. It was horrifying to watch. It was like, you know on Halloween when Michael Myers just walk at him with a knife?
Yeah.
And they just, kind of collapse onto the ground and start screaming instead of trying to run away. That I feel like that summarizes the last match pretty well.
That's not incorrect.
Yeah! Ezreal Yumi for Active Rush.
That's a super active lane. Does a lot of things.
Active Rush lane, ha! You're gonna have to carry your weight in this champion select match. I can't do everything for you.
Gas Pump, I don't know how to tell you this. You're not funny. Anyway, looks like we have a Draven Lux pick over from Amplitude. Draven, super aggro champion. Not really going to be able to do an awful lot against the super passive nature.
Yeah. Hey, Draven Lux, that's potentially a bot lane too.
Gonna be honest, I'm looking at this thing that was sent in the chat, and it's the Cat Doug theme song.
One Sunday with a wolf and a bird, baby.
Apparently the plan was Yumi Kog'Maw, but Cap said no. Very unlucky.
Man, can you imagine being that much of a wet blanket that you don't go for the Dogma Yumi bot lane?
Honestly, that's fair. I'll let you know what my do is. Let me play Maokai.
So, Trindle and Cassiopeia, the bans for the last phase for Active Rush, and Cassiopeia certainly was a strong point for Amplitude in the last game. I feel like that if that game had gone for a little bit longer, if the gold had been more even, the Cassiopeia Sivir would have been able to equalize, really cause some problems for Active Rush's squad. So, certainly justifying the ban there. Going to be forcing /div onto a different champion this match.
For sure. Now, that Irelia pick is actually not what I would consider surprising. It looks like Shifa is super, super privy to those hyper aggro top laners. No, I am interested to see what happens now that they have been given the Echo Jungle. What they choose to do with leverage like that.
Yeah.
And another Silas pick tells me that that might be an Echo mid, actually.
I mean, Echo, strong champion jungle, strong champion mid, a strong potential flex, of course, between the two of them. Really just depends on how they want the matchups to play up against. Silas and Echo have very similar play patterns, though I would say that, again, like having either of them, they're just kind of interchangeable as far as their roles are concerned here.
For sure. Now that Shogath pick, presumably to answer Renekton. Looks like we were going to see an Irelia mid, actually.
Shogath versus Renekton. That's like a Season 1 top lane, excuse me?
That's right, it's Season 1, boys. Put your clown shoes on.
Here we are, Champion Select beginning. So looking at this 5v5 setup right now, which team do you think has the advantage coming out of this Champion Select?
I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm gonna have to give it to the side of Active Rush, specifically because that Irelia Sejuani combo is nasty and Shogath scales like nobody's business. You thought Nos is the heavy hitter. Oof.
Sure can be. So
Cho'Gath has been called the largest, goodest boy.
I don't know if I can 100% jive with that.
Are you sure? Okay, if you say so. A little disappointed we didn't get to see the cat dog now that they brought it to my attention. That does sadden me greatly. See, listen, even Vladimir's livid.
I suppose he is. That's a vampire joke, isn't it?
Is it?
Yes.
Where?
Are we going to have to go into the root terminology of original English language, Mads?
Yes, please. I can't speak English.
That's fair.
Oh, somebody misclicked Orn.
Oh, baby, the champion select's done. Oh, okay. Well, clean 2-0 here.
Our top pick, the
Side
wrong
of-
champ.
the side
That's
of,
my favorite.
Clean 2-0 here for the side of Acid Rush. Congratulations.
That's right. They FF and everyone goes home. Oh my god, I forgot about this. It's my favorite. The part where everybody has to single-handedly join and rejoin. And leave and rejoin and then leave and rejoin. Oh, that's so good. I really did miss casting. Alright, looks like we're back in it. Maybe we'll get the right champion this time. Ha ha ha. So Gaspin, what are your thoughts on the fact that we're never going to see a Morgana play ever again?
Good.
That's valid.
Look, Morgana is one of these champions who is an anti-playmaker. Any game where Morgana is involved means that you're going to see less exciting stuff, just because Morgana wholeheartedly prevents it. And I think that there's like a time and a place for the Morgana pick, but this level of excitement, not here, not today.
I mean, I feel like there is a certain level of excitement with getting told no at every corner of your life. I just feel like maybe this tournament isn't the time and place. All right. Always a mystery. Perfect. Wow. That's a renekton. It's crazy. Now, what are your thoughts on the Cho'Gath pick to counter?
I mean, Cho'Gath does scale into a very large lad in the late game, and can certainly one-shot someone with his feast ability, but into the Renekton matchup could be difficult. Renekton, a very strong laner, and Cho'Gath is going to be very judicious with his ability usage if he wants to survive this 1v1 top.
For sure. No. Ooh, it is an echo mid. Not mid. Jungle. I speak English very well. Please push my wheelchair upstairs.
No.
Yes,
Too tired.
how could you? I have places to go.
Maybe this Champions League will actually succeed.
I don't believe you. You know, I feel like what really happened is that in his heart of hearts, Shifu really wanted to play Ornn.
Who would want to play that champion? Very strong, of course, but I mean,
Minimal interaction? That's my favorite.
when you could play Renekton or Cho'Gath instead.
That's fair. You could also play, dare I even say, Poppy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the spot lane matchup. For Moose on the Draven. What are your thoughts on that Lux versus Yumi pick? Are we really going to see anything out of that? Feels very non-confrontational.
For the Lux Draven non-confrontational, excuse me. If Ezreal
I more
catches
meant the
a
Yumi
single...
Ezreal.
I mean, the Yumi Ezreal doesn't want to do anything except for farm as long as possible, but if the Rammus and Fight to Win 20 have any say about it, they're going to get crunched in this lane.
I have to agree with you there. Expo on this Aurelia should be super interesting, and I say that tentatively. I feel like there's a lot of ways where Slash could monopolize on that pick, but I also feel like there's a lot of ways where Bladed just sits on him and tells him to stop playing mid lane.
It's fair.
Yeah. Gosh, what haven't we talked about yet?
I think we've gone over basically everything. I mean, it's mostly just a question of getting into game and watching this one play out.
That's fair. Well, you know what that means. It's time to find things to talk about for 2 minutes. So what's your least favorite Ezreal skin?
I actually couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Let me think.
Let's see.
I would have said Nottingham, but they made that one better with the rework.
Oh, they did they?
Mm-hmm.
Explorer's kind of garbage.
Explorer is probably the worst, yeah.
It's not a good time. Wasn't there that like the Jack, the Ace one, the cards one? Kind of really bad. Actively kind of garbage, if I'm honest. Darn it, Gatsman, that only got us through a minute and a bit.
We could always cut to break and then come back once the game starts.
You would be so lucky. What do you mean the dancing guy's distracting? The dancing guy's the pinnacle of this stream. He's really doing it for me. I don't know what the problem is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have made it into a loading screen today, and the first thing that I see here that catches my eye is that Rutledge has cleanse. Thank you for your input, Gas Pump.
No problem. I think it's a good idea, especially against this Lux. You know, being able to jerk off that CC, especially if it does get caught, can certainly save a laning phase.
For sure. Now we do see Slash once again rocking that teleport, once again trying to force that map of presence on Expo. I'm not necessarily sure if that's going to work out super well for him, but I am hopeful to say the least.
To Summoner's Rift.
Looks like we are going to see a 5-point start from both teams. No longer going to see that forced invade like we did last game. Looks like Ezreal and Yuumi are going a little aggro. Rutledge has something in mind here.
Fight to win on this. Lux taking a fair chunk of damage here, but early on for the game, that recalling, going back to base, healing up to full, certainly still an option.
And it looks like it is the option that she is going to take. Now, I would like to point out that there is no Ignite on Active Rush's bot lane, but there is on Fight to Win.
Yeah.
Definitely a super aggro choice. Not one that I would shrug off super easily either. But with Rutledge taking Cleanse, it should be a super interesting fight.
Yeah. What I'm really curious to see is, can Rammus and Fight to Win adequately punish the Ezreal, Yuumi, and lane phase, and put themselves up in this 2v2? Because again, Draven Lux very aggro, very strong, and Ezreal and Yuumi certainly a 2v2 that can be punished for their less proactive.
I'd have to agree with you there. There's very few things that Yuumi does get punished for, but just not participating is certainly relatively high up on that list. Now, I will say Expo taking a little bit of damage super early from Slash there. Kind of dangerous. But it looks like Nelson is taking that proactive route. Once Expo hits this level 2, will we see a fight in the mid lane is the question. Especially considering how close Bladed is. Could see a gank there.
Expo has already shown some very strong progression.
Nelson is just not letting up on him. We're already seeing a flash here in the bot lane, and a kill for Rutledge. The Ignite is still ticking on him. Fight to win. Will he be able to make it out? Unfortunately for Rutledge, he does manage to flash away to safety, and Rutledge is still holding on to that cleanse. Well, I do see a collapse in the mid lane. Slash taking that gank from Bladed Drive, and the stun does go off. Expo chasing, pursuing this, will manage to take the Ignite low enough for that kill secure.
Man, and once again, we're going to be seeing Active Rush off to a hot start this game. First kill in the bottom, followed up by that collapse. Mid lane is some very smart plays, ending up capitalizing with 2 kills. And when you're taking the initiative in a bot lane, where you are 2v2 against a Lux and a Ezreal Yuumi, things are not looking good for Rammus and Fight to win. And I mean, already denying those Draven stacks, this is such a strong start for Active
I feel like what happened here is that Nelson basically looked at his champion and said, no, I'm not going to do that, and chose the aggro route. And that is so huge to see a Yuumi pick a fight like that. That almost never happens. That looks like Shivo could be in danger here. Looks like we will be getting a collapse from Expo and Bladed. Shivo does have that flash in his back pocket, will be holding on to it. Bladed taking a little bit of damage, but will not go down.
The CC not landing there, well played there by Shivo. Connected to dodge out of the way. Gank. Save. Good stuff overall, but a snare landing.
Shivo does go in for a little bit of damage on Krobowagic, especially considering that he is completely at the moment. Now, if you look at bot lane, Rutledge and Nelson have not reset yet, and the only difference is the fact that Rutledge is completely at this point.
Also, Sans Cleanse had to use that to get out of the Lux.
That was super damning. But Shivo is going in for this kill on Krobowagic. He is holding flash, and his jungler is right there. Bladed walking right into a ward, unfortunately, not being able to pick up that kill, but is able to save his top laner.
I was going to say that was some phenomenal gameplay for Shivo until I saw that it was in fact a ward that Bladed just walked on over there as the Sejuani, so why is there anything back off?
The game sense of not walking into the enemy jungler, yes.
That you see directly in vision.
Exactly, yes, quite. Looks like we will see a reset from both top laners. Both top laners holding both flash and teleport still in their back pockets. Looks like Applejack's was setting up for a gank in the mid lane. Expo just barely avoiding that.
Gotta have the... I mean, the Echo W is very strong secondary follow-ups, but really is not so
taking a little
great
bit of damage there. Unfortunately, not being able to land that stun on Slash is super damning. Will be forcing a reset right there, but he is still a kill and a little bit of CS up, so it's not super bad yet.
Right, but it feels like Expo is up on CS a bit. It feels like Slash is going to have a difficult time capitalizing. Applejack's is here on the Echo, but he's really yet to make his mark on this game with Jungle Echo.
Looks like that stun will land. Is able to walk it out. Now we do have a root landed on Rutledge. He doesn't have that cleanse, but he is able to make it out. Yumi able to pop that shield right back onto him like nothing happened. Yumi does have exhaust up and will have this heal up relatively soon. We could potentially see another fight, especially considering that Lux does have that ignite and has shown that she is super trigger happy to use it.
That being said, though, you're looking at the bot lane where Rutledge has gone back and purchased that tier of the goddess. And this says to me that no, Ezreal is not looking to take fights here. He's looking to stack that tier up, play conservatively, and not look for that 2v2 until we see some more offensive itemization come through, whether it be machine pickup or whether Rutledge ends up going to that early Manamune. Depends.
Alternatively, I have seen Rutledge play the game before, and he is a super aggressive bot laner, not to mention that Bladed is hanging out right behind the enemy bot lane. Could be showing up at any moment. We do have a little bit of a fight in the top lane. Shipo getting just enough damage off. Bladed making his presence known just enough to make them back off. Now, the unfortunate thing here is that Applejack is trying oh so hard to get himself on the board, and it's just not happening for him.
I mean, that's kind of that's what it's looking like with Jungle Echo, right? Is that you have to find the opportunities to make those ganks work, and if you can't, you're going to be behind, so you need a little bit more reliability in that regard. That you want already with the assist on board here in the early game, helping on that middle lane or going to be pushed off the tower, but you're coming out here, flashes forward. All its nice, more damage coming onto him. Logic, no chance to make it out. Wow, well played.
Unfortunately, popping that flash, still going down, is sitting at a very hefty gold deficit at the moment, and it looks like Logic is all but out of luck winning this game. Back in the bot lane, we do have Rutledge. And by the bot lane, I meant the mid lane with Expo taking that fight on Slash. Not enough to kill either of them, but just enough for Expo to come out on top of that trade. And watching him play this Irelia is so wonderfully satisfying. Now down goes the ult from Expo, and the counter Irelia ult from Slash just barely managing to save his life, as Expo did manage to burn that ignite as well. Both. Well, actually, Expo still does have that flash, so we'll see if that comes in a moment. But Applejack's looking like he could be hovering mid, but so is Bladed. And Expo simply says, I have to go. Blocking it out for free, no flash burn there. And Echo burning that ult, looking super aggro here. Unfortunately, Bladed's ult whiffing, just barely, still managing to take down Applejack, who was just having a phenomenally unlucky game, unable to put himself on the board. And just like that, Expo and Bladed are so in sync here.
That's right.
Thanks for the dad triggering gas pop.
Yeah, well,
with the that's rough.
I mean, what else can you say? Applejack's spending a ton of time mid lane. Does it? In fact, it's a reverse capitalization because he dies for the attempt on Expo's life. And this Aurelia now 10 plus CS up, coming back.
No, can we just talk about the fact that Shipo just saw Bladed take that ward and still chose to stay in lane? Does he think he can fight this 1v2? He very well could.
I think he can.
Almost going down. Proboway does have ult though, which is a super dangerous thing for Shifu to be playing with, especially considering that Bladed was holding on to that flash the entire time. I feel like it was definitely worth taking that fight, getting them to back off like that. but it was still super dangerous. Now, Rutledge walking up here will get a face full of Applejacks and a nice, safe Yumi ult.
Going directly face first into his bowl of cereal.
Boy, this man said cereal first, no milk.
What kind of animal uses cereal without milk?
Apparently Rutledge.
Cereal first, no milk. Did it?
Cereal first, no milk, no spoon, no bowl. Just cereal.
Just reach your hand in the bag, get a fistful of
You actually pour it out of the bag into the box. You just took it out of the box. It's from the 90s.
That's horrifying. Actually incomprehensible.
Apparently Rutledge. All right. I mean, Nelson was along for the ride. Nelson was just an accessory. Now, it looks like we do have a flash from Ramuz and an exhaust from Nelson. Nelson not holding on to an awful lot of mana at the moment, which could be kind of dangerous for Rutledge. But we do have that ignite on flash.
Ezreal, I mean, Rutledge had a couple questionable decisions last game, but it felt like in this second match that Rutledge has been playing that much more safe, playing smart.
Now it looks like, on that note of them playing safely, Ramuz has simply had enough of the Ezreal today and has chosen a little bit more milk with his cereal today, managing to come out with a kill.
Suppose that's one way you could put it, but I mean, it's a cash curse, right? You say, oh, Roach is playing safe, he's playing smart, and then he just Arcane shifts in and gets obliterated by the damage from this Draven.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Nelson didn't really have a whole lot to help him with. Again, entirely and both sums on cooldown.
Yeah.
Very unlucky.
I think if the Yumi is a bit more mana going into that fight, it's probably a 2v2, but gotta be paying attention to the resources from your duo lane partner.
For sure. Now, something I would say here, I'd say that Kovacic is doing a phenomenal job of denying Shifu that much harder of an advantage. They're only 100 gold down.
Also going for the Hextech GLP first.
That is ambitious.
Kovacic just wants to drink from the hose, man.
He's thirsty.
It's summertime. It's summertime.
He's a thirsty boy. It looks like we could be seeing a full collapse here in the top lane. Expo, unfortunately, going back mid, will not be collapsing on that today. Looks like we will be seeing a Rift Herald out of this, though, unless Applejack has something to say about it. And with Lily getting this fight, Slash coming in, stealing that wonderful, wonderful.
Aurelia, though!
Aurelia coming in, immediately hitting them with the Valkyrie, winning that fight for them. Expo masterfully playing that. Unfortunately, I forgot the name Sejuani that entire time.
That was just a brilliant play from the side of Active Rush, right? They can get that from main collapse, and it was a very ambitious attempt from Amplitude, aptly punished by that top side, and they get 3 kills. They give the Rift Herald everything into their pockets on that play, and gonna be getting a couple of plates there.
Could be getting this top tower here. Bladed is there. Slash teleporting to a tower that almost isn't there anymore. Expo, look at him just walk it out. The tower is theirs for the taking as soon as these plates go down. It is so unbelievably free.
Right, exactly. And the current game state here, Ezreal getting closer and closer to that Monomuni, which would be a big pickup in terms of the damage department there. Draven had a difficult time here. Did get some stacks earlier on that kill to Ezreal. So that's something in terms of the pickup, but still, this Draven hardly out of control. Only a couple hundred gold ahead of this Ezreal, so.
I agree with you there. We are seeing an awful lot of aggro decisions top lane. Of course, we do see Shifu absolutely pushing for that advantage. But now that we have 3 kills, 2 assists, and 100 CS on Expo, there's no telling which way this game goes. Not only that, Bladed has something to say about the second dragon. We could be seeing 2 dragons and Yumi ult going down. Rutledge taking out Slash just like that. Fight to win the last week going down there, and that's 3 kills and a free dragon. Applejack has something to say about that, but so is Expo. Expo going in on that. Unfortunately for Applejack. He is ulting right back into the warm embrace of Expo, who safely backs off. Rutledge does look like he's chasing that, but Shipo has quite a considerable advantage here on this fight against Probowagic, who will unfortunately be going down here, popping both that Renekton ult and the Renekton flash. Applejack's making it out safely, but it looks like we could be seeing a bot lane tower here from Rutledge and Nelson.
And it's once again Active Rush making the collapse around the objective, cleaning up those kills, and putting Amplitude in the dirt in that 4v4 fight. And I mean, this is a dragon that gets started up. Applejack's was not present on that echo, and it ended up costing him so much.
And I'd just like to take a moment to appreciate and point out the vision difference. Not only that, Rutledge going all in on this fight against Moose, who unfortunately will be going down here. In comes Bladed with a questionable Sejuani ult. Fight to win will be going down. And just like that, a free double, a free pickup. Slash is coming in a little bit late here. However, Nelson does not have Sun for the moment. Applejack also here. Shipo roaming down as well. This could be danger. Bladed taking a couple of those echo stacks will be able to make it out with the assistance of Nelson, and Expo is free to farm that at his leisure.
Wow, and that was so close to being a successful collapse by the side of Amplitude, but too little, too late. They are just seconds away from making it work, but seconds they don't have is...
And not only that, can we just talk about the 40 CS lead in the jungle here? And a 32 CS lead here on Expo. That's so huge for them. So huge, in fact, that it's nearly 5,000 gold.
At 17 minutes, yes. This is definitely a difficult situation to be if you're Amplitude. They had problems last game. They're having a number of the same difficulties in this match as well. They're really going to need to pick up the pace here if they want to come back into this one, bring us to a game 3, but we'll see if Active Rush ever gives them the chance.
Probowagic is certainly giving it his all. He is up there participating. He's doing it.
We're fighting against Slash here. Jack's present as well.
Looks like Applejack will try to close in here on Probowagic. Won't really be able to force anything here because, again, that is a choke. But it looks like Slash is going for that as well. Bladed coming in on that Sedge. Does not have ult available. Just pop flash. Looks like bot lane will be taking down Rutledge. Rutledge and Nelson both going down here in the bot lane. Same with Probowagic and Bladed. That is so huge for them. A 4-kill pickup across the map. Expo, unfortunately, looking incredibly injured at the moment. Has nothing to do here but fight for his life. Looks like he will be able to pick up that kill on Applejack. Will he be able to force the 2v3? That ult going down, unfortunately. Slash did pick up that Shogun ult from Krobowet. That one.
And what a huge series of misplays there. Side of Active Rush. I mean, Amplitude looked so far behind, but they've gone from 5,000 gold down to 1,000 gold down as they continue to push here. That was a questionable fight top lane. Probowagic, I don't think he'll get filled. I think you can't try to take these fights top when you've got that GOP as your only major item completion. And Shipo and Applejack happily punished that. It looked like Expo was trying to make a turn happen, but it didn't go through. And then Rutledge and BT Nelson hugely overestimated their ability to take fights in this extremely damage-oriented 2v2 setup from the removes fight.
Exactly. It was just a very unfortunate, cohesive series of misplays that ended in everybody across the map being very sad. Or at the side of Rush.
I was gonna say, Amplitude is, I would imagine, generally very pleased with this setup.
Pretty positive right now. Draven, of course, taking a little bit of that slow damage. Always a little spooky when that happens, you know. Sometimes you just get GLP'd, but it looks like we do have a fight set up here. Unfortunately, Probowagic and Expo not having ult. Bladed does go in with the Sejuani ult. Draven is so horrifically out of position there. Expo is able to pick him up like it's nothing.
6-1 at rally.
And Rutledge, unfortunately, looks like he could be in a similar position in a couple of seconds here. Able to catch his way out of it, but it looks like we have a reverse Sejuani ult here, courtesy of Slasher.
Cho'Gath down there just in time to save that Ezreal's life from Shifu. The heal's going over. Cloud Dragon now up. Amplitude not really in position to contest this dragon, though. Applejack's coming over, has the ultimate, certainly dropped.
It will be very close. It's not close enough. Sorry, does not have ult here. Applejack's almost going down there. Expo not able to pick that up in time. Looks like we will be seeing a bot lane tower go down here, courtesy of Rutledge.
Right, I mean, doesn't have the platinum power that Eternity Force would provide to this Ezreal with the IQ with. Not a bad second
at the moment.
Stun not landing. Teleport channel will join the home guard huge speed, but Robo Logic on essential again that one as well. For this B2.
Looks like they will be backing off from that though, just for now. Bladed coming in with Nelson. Nelson's just taking the taxi at this point. Looks like just like that, we will see Expo going down. Shifu is dropped incredibly low, almost hit by the Ezreal ult, is able to sidestep it just in time. Looks like it could be the end of this fight, but they will get a tower out of it nonetheless. Applejacks for Expo looks incredibly worth it for Amplitude.
Right, but at the same time, you're losing that mid lane tower. Only 2 inners remaining, 4 to 2 towers. Full lead accelerating back to 3,500. This is a team that's also on Dragon Soul.
Robo-Logic simply backing out of that, unfortunately saying no thank you. They are looking to poke a little bit at this, and they are looking potentially to set up for that dragon, like we said. Just keep as much pressure as they can on that bot side. And essentially it is theirs for the taking. Now, in a couple of moments here, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a Baron fight. Especially at this point where everyone is so incredibly...
Applejack's gonna be forced to pop that ult defensively, get out of there.
I was gonna say, so incredibly well set, especially ultimates, and then Applejack said, actually, I would not like my ultimate.
Worth mentioning here, Yuumi, very, very low on energy. Some of that rejuvenation there.
Yuumi has a chalice, is the thing about that. Yuumi has a chalice and an idol, which means that Yuumi can do whatever Yuumi wants. Yuumi just needs about 20 seconds. So Yuumi is, in fact, going to reset off that.
Yeah. Speaking of resets, everyone else on the map too.
Exactly. Glad you got the memo, Gasman.
Here's the first time.
Now, just like that, Yumi's exhaust is on cooldown along with her heal. She does have that ultimate though. Rutledge does have both suns. On the other side, Fight to Win does have that ignite and no flash with both suns on the moose. Could be a very interesting trade here. Ramus kicking off, maybe biting off a little bit more than he can chew. As Apple, Ramus, and Fight to Win do put some pressure on this mid lane. Expo and Bladed are looking to take a little bit out of this fight as well in the inevitable setup for Baron.
I mean, 24 minutes on the clock. Another minute and a half.
Very unfortunately there. Shifu managing to catch out Rutledge. Rutledge going down to Shifu. Looks like we will see Bladed able to walk away, but Nelson goes down just like that with him. Expo having to walk it out. Will go down if he's not careful. Expo going down to Shifu.
Triple kill there
Just
coming
like that,
in.
the quadra kill comes through. Robo-Logic has to walk this out or risk being the penta. And it looks like he just might. And just like that, we see a 24-minute penta on Shifu. No, Robo-Logic has in fact walked it out. I lied.
He's
a large boy.
A lot of slowing items.
He's a large boy. He walks
He's a He's a chunky lad, and Shifu had already blown all those cooldowns. Respawn's coming back up. 12 to 10 seconds for Bladed Pieces next. But this is a very large Renekton, top 7 and 2, very aggressive itemization. They need to do something to stop this Renekton's aggression. So anyway, looking at the map here.
It's like a very hard reset.
10 seconds till that 4th dragon spawns, and that's going to be something that Active Rush absolutely wants to take.
Air Assault, especially when their team comp is going to be so huge with all of their slow potential.
Yeah.
Just delicious.
Well, also the 20% uncapped ult speed is going to be great for Cho'Gath.
Just like that, Cloud Soul on Active Rush will be looking to take down Applejack, but then he's forced to pop that ultimate. Will he be able to walk it out? He has to pop that flash as well. Rutledge popping that ultimate does get dropped super, super low. Expo does have a GA on now, which is so incredibly huge for him. Just the mind games involved with having a GA on that early.
A bit of a mistake there. Applejack's was a sitting duck, and he was silenced, he was CC locked, and the focus just wasn't there. Otherwise, that Echo Dyson's Baron take is 100% free with death timers, but instead it'll be a little bit dicey.
Risk Ricard,
Ramuse.
Ramuse, unfortunately, out of position. Able to flash out of that. But once again, I was going to say the only threat from that, putting yourself in that position of being in the pit, is that Renekton could dash over the wall at any point, and that is suddenly no longer a sitting duck. That is a sitting duck and is large Renekton.
It's the role reversal, if you will.
Yes, quite.
Stylus.
Teleport does get caught. Stylus looking to pick something up here. Doesn't have an ult selected just yet, but does have it available. Yumiel getting caught just like that, along with Irelia's Valkyrie. Irelia dropped incredibly low, is able to kite it out, does get stuck in that Lux Snare, but ultimately comes out of it victorious. Unfortunately, the only two members alive are Ramuse and Fight to Win. Fight to Win does not have that ult available. Looks like the Baron will be theirs, unless he chooses to make some very risky plays, which Rutledge has something to say about. Oh goodness, that Ezreal damage is huge! And just like that, that 27-minute Baron going over to Active Rush and a 5-man reset.
It is always Active Rush taking these fights in the scrumble, right? Whenever it comes down to these scrambles, the messy fights, the scrumbles, yes, as I had said previously.
It's not like a sauerkraut crumble. It sounds alarming. Go on.
So anyway, when the fights are messy, it's always Active Rush taking them. It feels like the mechanics are just on point for these members, and I mean, it was so close to Shifu running into the squad, right? But it was just these small margins where Active Rush was coming out in the clutch to just put them in this commanding position in game number 2, likely to take it into the series. They just gotta get close.
Unfortunately, Shifu had it under control, was close but not close enough. Wasn't really able to pull and carry those fights. And just like that, we have a Sejuani engage, immediately taking down Fight to Win. Looks like we will be picking up another kill on Applejack. Blast is in danger here. We'll be going down to Nelson. What an absolute unit. Shifu picking this fight with Turbo Logic, unaware of the entire enemy team right there, and the only one alive is Ramuse. This game is all but over. And just like that, Ramuse goes down.
That's a lot of damage from the Ezreal.
That's a lot of damage from the towers. The only unfortunate thing here is not having those waves available.
Well, the Baron Hard wave is crashing bottom. It'll be coming along shortly, yeah. They should be able to get an inhib before that time to draw all the way through.
Oh, that is a DC from Shifu. That is a surrender.
Oh, the surrender vote. Oh.
And just like that, we have our series winners.
Yeah, I mean, Active Rush playing very well in both of these games, coming out to a well-deserved 2-0 win.
Exactly. Congratulations to Active Rush. Gosh, I don't really think we have any end notes. We weren't given any end notes.
I mean, it just seems pretty self